All right, thank you for joining me on the Athlete Highlight. I wanted to
Um,
start by having you talk a little bit about yourself, how you started running, and a bit about your background.
I'm Hank Shi. That's my name. Go by Hank. Um, on my background, um, related to running. I think I developed most of my base for running from playing soccer. When I was younger and going to raves for the past 20 years, but soccer and raves, mostly raves. I think that's where I built my endurance. So started running. It was I think it's either 2017, 2018. Um, we were on a family trip at in New York City, and I just woke up with a horrible hangover one morning and a headache, and there's just people chanting outside the window just nonstop. I was like, shut up, what's going on? Just like nonstop screaming. So we realized it was the New York Marathon that day. So, we were sitting on the balcony, nursing my hungover, was having a cigarette. I was watching the runners go by. So I was just joking to my wife, was like, I bet if I quit smoking and cut down drinking, I can run a marathon in, 3, 6 months. So because that's what I did. So I just started training, and yeah, and just never stopped. And so I ran on the roads for a couple of years, um, and then I can't remember someone I know is like, why don't you run on trails? It's a lot more fun. And then I switched to trails and that was that.
Yeah. And, I think one of the things that's really interesting is, you were a former smoker and you
Uh,
quit smoking and you took up running. Do you feel a lot better now that you've quit, or do you miss it? What are your thoughts on that?
no, I don't think I miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely feel way better. um, um, yeah, but you do feel the kind of the impact you have, especially sometimes during a race, I have to like apologize to people running when I'm like trying to running behind people. I was like, hey, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be creepy or breathing really hard. This is just how I breathe. The smoke alarm. Yeah. So, but yeah, overall, it's definitely just feel you're all cleared up. Uh,
Yeah.
I think for the first few months, I would just cough nonstop after each run, like couple because I was quite regular smoker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's important to talk about because if somebody has been a former smoker, is currently a smoker, it's proof that there are some challenges with quitting, but
Mm.
you can pursue an active lifestyle in sports and, walk away from it and still be able to do it. I mean, you're pretty
Mhm.
incredible. You've run 90-mile weeks, you've done a race over 100 miles long, and
Mhm.
having been a former smoker, it's inspirational for people to say, yeah, maybe I can stop doing this and I can go do really big and cool things. So,
Yeah, I think
congratulations
once
on
you
that.
started running, you really, after a few runs, you just like, you just, it's, of course, it always has the urges at the beginning, but once that chemical reliance is that usually you you stop being reliant chemically. Probably, I don't know the science behind it, but pretty short,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it's mental. But the mental thing, because you're running, you always have something that the smoking is gonna impact it really
Yeah.
negatively. So mentally, you just make that switch. It's like, well, what's the trade-off? I can either have this a stick, or I can run much better, feel better afterwards. So it's pretty
And that's
easy.
why we don't see cigarettes at the aid stations. We see Fireball. We don't see cigarettes.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So, what is your favorite part about training?
Um, for training, I think it's um, there's no really like. day to day, I don't think this, I enjoy most of it. But I would say overall is kind of adapting the training methods for different races. So, whether it's a runnable, 100 mile, like Vermont, or a technical 50K, like the Ragged in New Hampshire. So, you always have a plan for me. It's like we usually, I think it's like 2 or 3 months out, right? We will develop
Yeah.
a plan targeting that specific race, and for that distance or that kind of terrain. It's just a lot of fun having a diverse range of running program you can, at your disposal. It's I don't have to think about it. I was like, I'm gonna do all I have to do. I want to run that race. Now, what do we? How do we adjust the training for that? Or in the past, it's like I don't really know what I'm doing. Do I just run more for race? Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
and you did a phenomenal job adjusting after Vermont as well. Unfortunately, this was the year of the rain and
yeah.
your race was canceled. And tell me a little bit about, how what did you go do after the race was
Uh,
canceled?
I after race was canceled, uh, I did a 3 day race. It was like a stage race in New Hampshire. It's at the Ragged. I think it's called Ragged 75. I don't know why it's called 75. It's like 80 miles. So you run like 20, 24, 24, and then on the last day you run a 50K throughout the mountains in New Hampshire. So you wake up 6 in the morning, and you basically you camp there. You run to each base camp, and then you set up your tent, and you wake up in the morning, pack up, eat breakfast, and start running at 7. And then you finish, and then you do it over again. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So the Vermont training, even though it was a bummer it didn't happen, but definitely build that base for me, not just from the heat training, it's the heat, and also the elevation, and the run, just run every day.
Yeah.
So that helped me a lot. So I ended up doing pretty well in that race.
You did really well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
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 So what kind of challenges did you face during your training this year?
This year,
Yeah.
uh, I I don't think so. I don't have any challenges. Well, the thing is, was never properly trained as a runner. So in school, many years, decades ago, I played soccer. So, and I trained as a soccer. Running is just like kind of a warm up. So having the training programs as a
Yeah.
runner, all this is very new, exciting for me. So when things are new, exciting, you don't see it the challenges. And plus, like, we're doing different kind of races every few months. So like I said earlier, the switching different running programs like keeps it kind of novel. So
Yeah.
no challenges.
What was your
Like,
best race experience?
uh, best race experience, that would
You had some
be,
good ones.
yeah, some good ones. Yeah. Um, I think it would be sleep running during the Carryaway Ultra, the 200K race I did in Ireland. So, yeah, I think everyone has, like, these long races. You and I talk about it, sleepwalking or sleep running. I didn't even know that was a thing until it was 4 or 5 a.m. I started falling asleep. I was in the mountains. I was on the mountain ridge. I was like, oh no, what's going on? Can't keep my eyes open. And next thing I remember, I woke up like in the village. I was like running toward the aid station. I was like, how did I get here? No idea. Think, yeah, just like running and sleeping at the same time. And waking up when you run into a bush, and then you kept going. That was fun.
And you had a phenomenal race, and this rainy summer actually prepared you really well for it, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I everyone going to Ireland, rainy. Ireland is rainy. But when you're really there, it's like, wow, it's really rainy, really cloudy. But yeah, all the rain we have in New England, all the training definitely prepare me for the rain. I mean, it rain half of the time, and then the other half, the ground is all just soggy and just like you just like sinks into mud all the time. But yeah, it was that was the longest distance I've ever run. You know, it's 200K. But
Yeah.
it was just a lot of fun. The longest
And
time too. So,
but
forever.
you did really well, and you just started like towards the end. It was fun tracking you and seeing you passing people and going forward. And it was a really exciting race to watch with what'd you call them? The dot watchers.
The dog watchers, yeah. That was fun. It was like, family and friends watching the dot. I think our plan was like just be consistent, which is, harder to do than saying it. Everyone's, oh, we're gonna be consistent. So I went
Yeah.
out just like a kind of a slower pace and just kept at that. Apart from the boggy part, which is just like I had to slow down. I just like couldn't run. You just like ugh, ugh. Um, and the sleepwalking part. Um, and after I think it was like a whole my crew gave me like a bottle of coffee, so I drank that. So that really woke me up. That was like, toward the end I was able to just like going like a normal pace. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what would you say your toughest training experience was? And if you had a tough training experience, what were the voices saying in your head?
Uh, the toughest training would be heat training. I was just never a big fan of heat. Live in you think you live in Boston, you have cooler weather. No, like the summer here is like terrible. Especially heat training for Vermont this year. So I remember, I would run in the hottest during the hottest time of the day, and then jump straight into a hot tub, a hot bath. It's like I had to like have a thermometer on the bath. It's 105 degrees, and I have to run hot water constantly to keep it hot. Just stay there for 45 minutes, just like dying, and then at night I'll go to sauna for like so it's just like after that you just train. So I do that like 3 times a day for a while. Yeah, that was so tough. That was like tougher. I mean, the running part was easy. It's just yeah, the heat training,
Yeah.
definitely. And I sweat excessively, just without that kind of heat anyway. So imagine just yeah, it was tough.
Too much.
But it paid off,
Yeah.
like for 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 the two kind of one summer race I ran the ragged, and then the Ireland race, um quite a few people actually dropped out because of the heat. It was a fall race, so the temperature was like tipping over at 60, 70. But just coming off from that heat train, this is
That's
chill
amazing.
for me. Yeah. What are you guys talking about? Cold, warm, yeah. So that was good.
So
Um,
have you had injuries and how have you dealt with them?
um, so I don't think I had this year. I mean, I've been training with you for a year now, and almost a year. I think it's only just minor injuries. Just like minor tweaks. Like there's nothing like major. Um, in the past, before I have any coach, I would get injured a lot. Basically, I had to like either stop training just completely or train with that pain. And and then eventually made it worse, and then I had to stop. So, but last year, I think because of the balance, running, strength training, and then I mean, I always, we joke about having you is almost having a physical therapist as well. So anytime there's like a little thing popping up, I'll have things stretches to do. So even if my mileage has gone up, my injuries have gone down. But I really don't have, big injuries. For the minor injuries, usually stretches and some, strength training will just sort it out
Yeah.
quite easily. Yeah. So that was good.
And you're
Yeah.
really phenomenal athlete and you're fascinating because you are able to sustain fairly high mileage where a lot of people aren't able to sustain the type of mileage that you do, but you do high mileage, you do it without injury and you do it really well and still are able to get in your strength training. So it's really impressive to work with you and see what you're capable of. It's,
Yeah. Thanks. I mean, like, the mileage is you just slow down a little bit. I feel like that. I think that was like the first thing you told me. It was like, you say, hey, you gotta slow down so you can become faster, which is like, sounds like an oxymoron. I was like, what? He's talking about slow down, but eventually you realize that yes, because you slow down, you can train more, and then you
yeah.
eventually at races you become much faster. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're funny. You'll do a 6-hour run. I have so much energy afterwards. I'm like, you are very special and unique. This is amazing. So looking forward, what are your future goals?
um, so apart from, I think everyone has the goal of running longer distance.
Yeah.
That's just never satisfying. You run 100, I want to do a 200, do a 200, I want to do a, blah blah. So I'm just not gonna do that. I mean, it happens, it happens. But I really do want to become a better mountain runner. I do like hills, but living near Boston, there's not really hills. At Fells, the Middlesex Fells, but you have like 200 feet hills at most. Um, and I do enjoy every time I go out in the mountains. I really enjoy running there. So I want to
Yeah.
try to, you know, get a habit of at least like running in the mountains once a week. Go up to New Hampshire, or like
Yeah.
Western Mass once a week, once every 2 weeks at least.
If we don't have another rainy summer, that would be amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I
It was
mean,
a
like
tough
that's
one.
yeah, but it's
Mm.
part of trail running, and
Yeah.
running in general. Just have dealing with different weather. You just I think one thing about having the ultra mentality is like you just deal with whatever weather throws at you, right? Like
Yeah.
otherwise, you can't be just like, I will only run this race if it's perfect weather, like
This was not
yeah,
the year for that.
yeah, or like just
Mm.
that's just then you can end up not having fun, Like I think a lot of their best experiences coming from extreme weather. I mean,
Yeah.
being safe obviously is
Yeah.
important, but you don't remember, you don't think about, oh, I remember that race I ran in perfect,
No.
50 degrees sunny weather. No, you think about the days I ran that race when you ran 20 hours.
Yeah.
That's
And it's funny how those are the days you look back on and you smile. Like the conditions might have been terrible, but those are the
yeah,
days that you actually like smile and you're like, wow, that was an adventure.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I think that's like what really a lot of the time keeps me going during training is like, like because the weather is so unpredictable
Mm.
recently. It's just and it just it would rain for 5 hours straight when you're like doing your long run. I was like, well, I'm
Mm.
chafing all over, like cold, or like just dealing with layering issues. But I think that's good training. You just consider it as
Yeah.
good training. Yeah,
Yeah. And to just like get the skills that you need to be able to manage that if it happens on race day, because you have no control over what's going to happen.
yeah, yeah.
So what has your experience been like working with me?
uh, I think it's just been fantastic. You know, um, over the past year or so, I've not only become just like a stronger and faster runner, like I think the most important thing I learned from is like uh, how to how to slow down to be faster. I think that's like
Yeah.
mentality. I really appreciate learning from you, and also just overall a stronger and faster runner. Um, yeah, like just great experience, like being so helpful, and everything. Every time I have questions, issues, like it's like having a it's like having a personal coach.
It's- That's the goal. No, it's an absolute joy working with you. Like you're always happy, you're always fun. Like you're vibrant and you bring, something to running that is much needed. Um, and I always love your stories. Like I went out and had fun at Halloween last night, or I went out this weekend, and you're still out there doing a great job, and you're still present for your family too, which is really nice. That's important.
Yeah, well, I mean, you gotta do that part so that you can, you know, go run for 10 hours on the
I
weekends.
know.
Otherwise,
Mm,
yeah,
mm,
it's good to let them know, say, hey, I'm gonna block out this day, but the next day we're gonna do this.
yeah.
We're gonna do a lot of
Mm,
fun things. So,
yeah. Yeah. And you definitely do a great job with that. And lastly, for somebody who's just starting out on their running journey, whether they're quitting smoking, making a lifestyle change, or just want to experience running, what kind of advice would you give out to somebody who is brand new?
uh, brand new, I would say, um, to go to the gym. Don't skip gyms. It's weird because you think you started running. Um, this is one thing I learned too. Because I hated going to the gym. I was like, this is what I'm a runner. I run. Why would I need to go to the gym? But the more you go, especially, it's kind of like it's part of training as well. You run and then you go to the gym, so you treat it as endurance training, right?
Yeah.
You're also working out, and the strength training really will help you become faster and stronger, and most importantly, avoid injuries. Because like
Yeah.
worst thing that can happen to a runner is like you can run, and that, but and the best way to deal with that to avoid is be stronger, and then you can either twist your ankle or like bend your knee. All those are usually because you're having some weakness in your
Yeah.
muscle. So strength training definitely helps that. Plus you look way better on the beach. So,
That's that's one of the most common things that the people I work with say is like, I have muscle now and it looks good.
I know you don't just look like a skinny runner,
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I definitely agree with you with the strength training being such a huge piece of the puzzle and an
Yeah.
important one too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me, and
Yeah.
it's always
No
awesome to
problem.
talk with
Yeah.
you.
Anytime. Yeah.